Welcome to the Black Excellence and Abundance Channel. Bessie Coleman, born January 26, 1892, was an African-American civil aviator. She was the first black woman to hold a pilot's license, and she achieved her international pilot's license in 1921. Born to a family of sharecroppers in Texas, Coleman studied at a segregated school and went on to attend one term of college at Langston University. Born to a family of sharecroppers in Texas, Coleman attended a small segregated school, and she went on to attend one term of college at Langston University. She developed an early interest in flying, but at that time, African Americans and women had no flight training opportunities in the United States, so she saved up money and obtained sponsorship to go to France for flight school. She then became a high-profile pilot in early but also dangerous air shows in the United States and hoped to start a school for African American flyers. Her pioneering role was an inspiration to early pilots into the African American community. In 1916, at the age of 24, Coleman moved to Chicago, Illinois, where she lived with her brothers. In Chicago, she worked as a manicurist at the White Sox barbershop. There, she heard stories from pilots returning home from World War I or flying during the war. She took a second job at a chili parlor to save money in hopes of becoming a pilot. As American flight schools of the time admitted neither women nor blacks, Robert S. Abbott, founder and publisher of the Chicago Defender, encouraged her to study abroad. Abbott publicized Coleman's quest in his newspaper, and she received financial sponsorship from banker Jesse Binger and the Defender. Determined to learn how to fly, Bessie refused to take no for an answer. Coleman took a French language class at the Berlitz School in Chicago and then traveled to Paris on November 20th, 1920, so she could earn a pilot license. She learned to fly in a Newport 82 biplane with a steering system that consisted of a vertical stick the thickness of a baseball bat. With the vertical stick in front of the pilot and a rudder, a bar under the pilot's feet. On June 15, 1921, Coleman became the first woman of African American descent to earn an aviation pilot's license. She also became the first person of African American descent to earn an international aviation license from the Fédération Aéronautique Internationale. That's French, y'all. Determined to polish her skills, Coleman spent the next 2 months taking lessons from a French ace pilot near Paris, and in September 1921, she sailed for America. She became a media sensation when she returned to the U.S. Bessie is quoted as saying, "The air is the only place free from prejudices. I know we had no aviators, neither men nor women, and I knew the race needed to be represented along this most important line. So I thought it my duty to risk my life to learn aviation." Quote, Bessie Coleman. With the age of commercial flight still a decade or more in the future, Coleman quickly realized that in order to make a living as a civilian aviator, she would have to become a barnstorming stunt flyer, performing dangerous tricks in the then still early technology of airplanes for paying audiences. But to succeed in this highly competitive arena, she would need advanced lessons and a more extensive repertoire. Returning to Chicago, Coleman could not find anyone willing to teach her, so in February 1922, she sailed again to Europe. She spent the next 2 months in France, completing an advanced course in aviation, and then left for the Netherlands to meet Anthony Fokker, one of the world's most distinguished aircraft designers. She also traveled to Germany, where she visited the Fokker Corporation and received additional training from one of the company's chief pilots. She then returned to the United States to launch her career in exhibition flying. Queen Bess, as she was known, was a highly popular draw for the next 5 years. Invited to important events and often interviewed by newspapers, she was admired by both blacks and whites. She primarily flew Curtiss JN-4, Jenny biplanes, and other aircraft, which had been Army surplus aircraft left over from the war. She made her first appearance in an American air show on September 3, 1922, at an event honoring veterans of the all-black 369th Infantry Regiment of World War I. On many of her shows, Coleman was billed as the world's greatest woman flyer, and many of the shows featured aerial displays by 8 other American ace pilots and a jump by the black parachutist Hubert Julian. The thrill of stunt flying and the admiration of cheering fans was only part of Coleman's dreams. Coleman never lost sight of her childhood vow to one day amount to something. Committed to promoting aviation and combating racism, Coleman spoke to audiences across the country about the pursuit of aviation and goals for African Americans. She absolutely refused to participate in aviation events that prohibited the attendance of African Americans. Ms. Bessie Coleman has been the inspiration of many in the aviation field for over 100 years. Mae Jemison, the first African-American female astronaut, was also inspired by Ms. Coleman, and she says, quote, "It is tempting to draw parallels between me and Ms. Coleman, but I point to Ms. Coleman and say, here is a woman, a being who exemplifies and serves as a model for all humanity, the very definition of strength, dignity, courage, integrity, and beauty." Thanks for watching. Please remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Remember, thou art rich.